Hello, it's Christy Gray, your newest hype girl and astrologer. Welcome to the Cosmic Hotline. Hi, gorgeous, and welcome to this week's episode of the podcast. And this week on the Cosmic Hotline, we are joined by our expert guest and takeover, Sarah Keely. Sarah and I initially connected on my previous podcast, Christy Unedited. And as soon as I connected with Sarah, I just loved her vibe. She is a Scorpio through and through, and what better person to take us through this Scorpionic energy that we have on the horizon with our new Moon Eclipse in Scorpio. And that is happening on the 25th of October. But before we dive into all of the rituals and all of the insights Sarah is going to provide us today on transformation, I wanted to give you a little bit of context. So Sarah does mention her previous business on this episode because this year she's been pivoting. You may have seen her online or purchased one of her beautiful products in the past. Her previous business was known as Conscious Calendar Co. And I had one of her beautiful crystal calendars myself. What she finds is that product wasn't viable anymore. And she talks about it a little bit in this episode because we really dive into the importance of transforming. And if something isn't working, how do you change it? So she has created Conscious Days, and Conscious Days is about embracing an imperfect but conscious life. What I love so much about Sarah is she is an adventurer of the soul and seeker of healing and wisdom. She's been on her own journey of self-discovery and growth, and she's going to take you through what that means today. I cannot thank Sarah enough for coming on and sharing her wisdom with us. So I'm handing the mic over to you, Sarah.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to be here, especially for the Scorpio new moon. And Stellium in Scorpio, I kind of claim it. It's my thing.
Do you know what? Scorpio is one of those zodiac signs that when I say it, whether I'm sharing it based on a placement in their natal chart, or they might be talking about somebody that as a friend, a family member, or maybe a love interest, when I bring up the zodiac sign Scorpio, there's almost like this intake of breath, like from the person. Why is that?
Yeah, I think because it's got this very easy to transform capability. A lot of people that are either uneasy or controlling, they find that really like overpowering, somewhat deceiving, because they're like, oh my God, I don't know like what's going to happen next. And it's got that whole like mysterious sexual side, and some people just are a bit overwhelmed and uncomfortable with it, but I own it to the 10th degree. Like I'm a Scorpio through and through. I mean, I love knowing like my rising and my moon, but when you look at me and you get to know me, I switch and change quite a lot.
But do you know what? I love that potency that comes with the zodiac sign of Scorpio. I grew up in a household. So my mum has a Scorpio stellium in the 7th house. Her sun is in the 7th house. So her identity is based on her relationships. So she has this intense like relationship with me in the sense of I'm an only child. So I was like,
You've got it all.
Oh my goodness. Like all of that love and attention was really projected onto me. And that's such a beautiful thing. But for somebody that's like fiercely independent with an Aries moon, there was a lot growing up. But I have this deep appreciation for Scorpio as an archetype because it actually helps us to transform and let go and really get to the bottom of things, of why are we passionate and what gives us meaning and purpose and how can we have more of that?
Absolutely. It just makes, I think once you realize your natal chart and you can adapt to it, well, not adapt to it, but like own it, sorry, is probably a better word. When you can own your natal chart, it's just like this reassurance. It's like someone's actually given you a mud map for how to live your life.
Oh, absolutely. Like yeah. Preach.
Once you know it. So if you're not a Scorpio, but you know it's the moon, you know, working with that energy, it's just so reassuring because you're like, why am I going crazy? Or why aren't I flowing here when I should be? You're like, oh, well, it's an earth sign, you're water, or, you know, it helps.
Absolutely. And because you are a Scorpio sun, and Scorpio and Taurus are the two zodiac signs really going through the most change and transformation this year, it's like, tell us a little bit about the change and transformation that you've been going through and also how you've been feeling about that change and transformation.
Well, I know we spoke about this briefly on message the other day because my husband's a Taurus and I'm a Scorpio. So the complete opposite sign. So you're either doomed or you're fated to be together forever. I mean, we've been together 12 years now, nearly married 10, and we definitely have our testing moments. But this year was so interesting when you told me that it was such a transformative year. I mean, my husband's just left his job, still working in the same industry. He's a real estate agent selling completely different product, basically. So that's been really transformative. My business has just done this 360, and because it had to, because financially and the way that the economy is at the moment, like it just wasn't being sustained. So I've just had to do a big flip on that as well. It doesn't really scare me or bother me. I'm just kind of like, what's the problem? Okay, that's nice. So find the solution and flip. And I think sometimes people get a little bit intimidated about that, or a bit worried, or they think that you're a hero because you can just pivot so quickly. But it's like, well, what else am I going to do? Like sit here and wallow, or just go day by day just because? It's like, well, no, like turn it up a notch. Like let's turn the plates around kind of thing.
I love that, because that's that real high vibrational energy of Scorpio. I'm hella resilient and I'm going to do whatever it takes to move forward.
Yeah, otherwise, like what a waste of your day. What a waste of the energy that you've already put in and that you've got to expand on, and the things that you've got. So transform. Like you don't have to be stuck. Just whether it's changing up your daily routine, or it's changing up your perspective, it's changing up things in your house. I'm really big on changing up the energy in your home, and the energy also like what you're speaking. Be conscious of your words, be conscious of your thoughts, and transform that. And you can literally flip anything. You realize what you're actually putting out there. You can transform it. And okay, you don't like your job, transform it, change the mindset or change the job.
So when you said before that you change up things in the home and you love doing that, what are
Yeah.
the things that you love to do the most in the home environment to shift that energy?
Well, as soon as spring comes, like I'm big spring cleaner. So I do a big cull of my wardrobe, and the kids, and then I'll donate what needs to be donated, sell what needs to be sold, and just give it a complete refresh. That is like first and foremost. Clean out all the drawers, get rid of anything that's old, like go through the pantry, that kind of stuff. Then I like to do like a big sage. So I'll do a big cleanse of the home, make sure all the crystals get cleansed so that we can bring in new energy, you can bring in new abundance. So you start at the front door and then you go left to right and you open up all the windows and get clear any old energy, and then welcome in the new. So whatever it is that you want to welcome in. Then I've got crystals that I put specifically around the house. So new selenite wands above the front door, above any doorways in the house, new black tourmaline to protect the energy, new citrine to bring in abundance, new rose quartz for love, new amethyst. And it doesn't necessarily have to be a new big piece. We can just cleanse it as well, but really refreshing your intentions into them just to like change things up. And I love changing like the decor, even if it's moving furniture around or getting new chair covers or just simple things like new cushion covers. It's like welcoming in something, and fresh flowers. Fresh flowers are a potted plant inside. Beautiful.
Do you know what? I actually love doing the same thing. I'm a big one on my home environment. So I have Jupiter, the planet of expansion, in my fourth house, which is
Okay.
home and family. So my home is a place of expansion. And I can kind of start to feel almost like an attention when things in my home just need a refresh. And
Yeah.
it's funny because that's exactly what I did the other day. Is I ended up doing a bit of a change around, put a new rug in the lounge, just moved the couches around a little bit, changed up where all my crystals were, little things like that. And almost instantly I felt like this sense of relief. It's so
Yeah.
weird how quickly it can change.
Well, 100%. As soon as that Virgo moon comes in, I'm like ready to go and pretty things out. But also like in feng shui, like I studied that for a little while and I know a few things, and just changing the flow, like energy gets stuck behind the couch or behind that ottoman that's been there forever, and you need to move things around and open it up. I even do that when my friends laugh, but when I go into hotel rooms, I completely redecorate. Like I take out the dodgy cover that's on the desk, or I move the cutlery around, I change the plants and all that kind of stuff, because I'm so like you. The energy in my space really affects me. And if I don't like something, I will speak up and say.
But hey, I love that. If I don't like something, I'll speak up and say, I love it. So good.
100%. Go to a restaurant with me and you might, hide, but I'll be like, no, I'm not happy with that. Or the way I sit at a restaurant, like that energy flow as well. Like I'll make sure that the table's right, or like I've got a position that I feel comfortable in. Not controlling, just like know what affects you and how you can control how you're going to be affected in a situation.
That's the power and potency of Scorpio. It's knowing what you want and being okay to say that. Because I think a lot of us can sometimes be afraid to say what we're thinking, whether it's to keep the peace within a group of people, or we're worried what other people will think of us.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I believe a lot in like the subconscious and how we were raised as kids and how that affects us as adults. So maybe as a child, you were told to like stop talking, your words don't mean anything, or there's no value in that whatever you're bringing to the table, especially at school. I mean, I wasn't a good student at all. And so I was just told to sit at the back of the class. You don't get it, it's fine. And so it took me a while to like build up my confidence. But once you find your stride and you know what you're good at, and people start commending you on it, you're like, oh yeah, actually, I do know what I'm talking about. My voice is valued and I can speak up for myself, because as soon as you do that, the universe just gives you what you need, 100%. And some things are scary to speak up about, but if you don't do it, you're just kind of living in that shadow. You don't really know, and you've got to ask. My husband's the opposite. He's a little bit more conservative than I am. You just got to do it. Otherwise, you'll never know.
That was like the best example ever. I'm popping in with a quick public service announcement, and that is the most important part of the Cosmic Hotline is you. Have an astrology question you need answered? Nothing is off limits. Whether it's a question about your natal chart, the 411 on Mercury retrograde, or what is the significance of a particular transit or activation. Submit your question today with no strings attached, or select the option to have your question answered live, just like an astrology session I'd have with a client. Text or call 043 17 Venus or submit your question via the show notes below. Any tips for letting go? Because it's really interesting, because at a new moon, it's this opportunity to set your intentions for the month ahead. And we really associate that letting go and releasing with the full moon.
Yeah.
But I wanted to bring this topic up today because when it's a Scorpio new moon, you have to let go of something.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think also on a new moon, yes, typically full moons you let go, but a new moon, you still got to be like, okay, cool, I've just done that. What didn't serve, so that I can let go of that to project myself into the next phase? For me, depending on the element, right? So Scorpio is water. So having a big shower, having a deep swim in the ocean, just really like hydrating, like washing, flushing your body out through water, sweating, crying, releasing. So using the element that you're in, and Scorpio being water, they would be my top examples. And if you're transforming, change the wardrobe. What you wear reflects how you feel and what you put out there to the universe. Like, say, does this wardrobe really say what I'm about? I'm talking that I want to be more professional. I'm talking I want to be more conscious, or I want to be more hippie, whatever it is. Like, transform your wardrobe. I'm a big believer in like what you wear changes your energy, but also just look at what habits you're doing throughout the day. And if they're not serving your transformation to the person that you want to be, then switch them out. Okay, it doesn't serve me. I really want to be reading a book a month, but it's not serving me that I'm watching TV every night. So let's transform that. Let's put that book beside the bed and make sure it gets read every night, even if it's 15 minutes, and just slowly build up. I love to journal and release things that aren't serving me, and especially with the elements. So if you write it down, go wash it under the tap. Like, pull out the paper, write it, pull out the paper, wash it under the water and release it. Like, literally let that go, put it in the bin and be done with. And then depending on the next element, whether it's fire, burn it, earth, bury it, get it out. Move, and movement I find really big too. Like jumping up and down, running, if you can do kundalini, like anything like that, just to really shake, because your body holds on to everything, right? And it's holding on to all the old energy. And if you want to get rid of that and move forward, shake it out.
So many great tips on momentum and just movement, because to move forward, well, that requires movement and it requires momentum. So it means there needs to be an action on your part. What rituals can you share with us, Sarah, so that we can feel inspired by the Scorpio new moon?
Well, as a proud Scorpio, I would definitely look at where you want to transform and what you want to become, and, you know, work on those things. So whether it's the lifestyle, the look, the money, the personality, the community, and, find ways to support that. So whether it's donating your clothes and buying new pieces, journaling what is no longer serving you, and then implementing 3 or 5 things that are going to help support that, whether it's money management or reading or exercising, just pick 1 or 2 and just go with it. I find that when I've got like a nice community around me, whether it's a few friends or you're in a group, an activity, whether it's exercising, whether it's a women's circle, that's really, really supportive, and that'll help you transform. Find somebody that you find really inspiring as well. You're not looking at them with jealousy, but you're inspired by the actions that they take in their day. You're not copying them, but you're mimicking, you're mirroring those things that are going to fit into your lifestyle. Don't be like, oh, I could never be like her. She lives in Byron Bay and drives a, whatever car. And I will know that's fine. I can implement the way she makes me feel where I am at the moment in my life. That's what somebody's giving you. It's that feeling of being whatever those things are that you're searching for.
I love that you share that, because I think that there's something to be said. We're all looking for inspiration today, and we spend so much time consuming content online. And I love social media. Do not get me wrong. My business exists because of social media. But what I find can happen is when you're consuming a lot of the time is you can look towards others for inspiration, but then you can also feel like, as you mentioned, you can sometimes feel defeated that somebody might have something that you don't have. And it's about how can you feel inspired in those moments and take what you need, but then also implement it into your own life. And I think that's why it is really important to have some form of connection or community around you to actually get some form of feedback, because when you're consuming online, there's no give or take, there's no ebb flow, you're not really receiving anything other than that. But whereas when you're a community or a women's circle or something where you actually get to connect with others, you can feel inspired because you do that through conversation or content or whatever that looks like. I love that you've really started to pivot your business into this area, because I think that it will act as such a great source of inspiration.
Oh, thank you. I'm so excited because the reason I started my business was to help me personally connect with myself and to feel like I had control over the things that I wanted to do, like creating my own life and then also loving myself. And that's honest to God, like the reason I created it. It was selfish, but I thought if that's me, I'm a mum of 3 and I'm looking for something more. That's why I created it. And in regards to all the social media, it is amazing. Yes. And I do love it. And I too have a business built off it. But it is also a consuming, distracting device platform. And so I am very conscious on who I actually follow. And I have unfollowed quite a lot of people because, yeah, you can fall into that trap. And you can be like, oh, they're in Europe or they've just bought this. Da, da, da. And unfortunately, we are a little bit like that. And we get sad that we don't have that. But if you are very selective on who you are going to follow, and you know that your connection to that person isn't a form of jealousy, but it's actually inspiring, then follow them. Like, just because the account's there doesn't mean that you have to follow it. You wouldn't invite all those people to your house for a party. So why are you welcoming them into your phone, into your bedroom, into your family life? Because as soon as you open that up, it's in your face, right? So I think be selective on who you're following, what communities you're involved with, and who you surround yourself. I mean, there's that saying that, what is it, the 5 people that you spend most time with are a reflection of you. So just be conscious of who you're actually investing your time with. Like, does that person that you have coffee with, like, does she really light you up? Does that mum in the mums group bring the best out of you? Like, does that sibling that you speak to every other day, are they actually, and vice versa, are you supporting them and they supporting you? And the reason I created the Conscious Days community is because, look, I know I'm overwhelmed with content. I know I just want the specifics. I want to know that it's with me. And I thought if we can do like a monthly intention with the calendar, I can text people and just let you know, hey, if you think you're going batshit crazy, just FYI, it's a full moon in this, and keep it simple. But then, physically, I like physical things, and that's why I had the calendars. But I'm still now going to post you the crystals and the seeds for the month so that you feel that connection and you've got them physically, because in a digital age, there's not much actual tactile connection. So then we can plant the seeds together and actually connect with the energy of the crystal and just soldier on like that. So you know that you're a part of something, and you know you're planting seeds towards something. I just think is so nourishing.
You know what I love so much, and it's so cliche to say this, but it's in the name of your business, is this idea of being conscious. Like everything you've shared today is all around paying attention. You have to be conscious to pay attention.
Just absolutely. And if you don't pick it up, you just fall into this same wheel and this same cycle. And being conscious of everything, like the food that you eat, the words that you say, the people you surround yourself, everything that you do is creating yourself. You're born a pretty blank slate, but then you get put these layers onto you, and then you have to decide whether or not you're going to carry that bag around, and then be conscious of what actually is helping you move forward. And I'm no pro. I'm not perfect. Hell no. But I am a living human being that is trying, and I am conscious of my life, and I'm conscious of my 3 children. When you see the output of something, you kind of want to make sure that it's the best thing for everybody.
So good. Oh my God, I love that. That's beautiful.
I hope so. I've been there, and it feels really unsupportive at times in life. And I just really want to give people that connection and feel like you've got this no matter what. But I'm sorry if you had a roadblock in front of you. I'm sorry if you feel stuck. I'm sorry if you don't feel supported, but you actually have got this. And if you can be conscious of it and implement a few things and connect with yourself, that was something that I was really lacking. But if you can connect with yourself, you can then dictate your days and move forward.
I hope you enjoyed this week's episode, and I hope that you've had a takeaway or two about how you can embrace transformation in your own life, especially with such a potent and energetically timed like we're navigating right now. Because remember, eclipses aren't singular, they come in pairs. This is your opportunity to embrace transformation and change. Eclipses are destiny points. They're agents of change. How many times have I said change just then? But essentially, they create these sliding doors moments in our lives, giving us this ability to let go of something and create space for something new to welcome in. Being open to receive, baby. That is what this is all about. Happy new moon manifesting, babes. I'll be back next week, and we have a live session with Danielle. Danielle has a question around how do you feel fulfilled when you're multi-passionate? And we're going to be unpacking all of that. And she even has a light bulb moment along the way. I'll catch you next week, babes.